when you know the setup in 2 Chronicles chapter 20, it makes the prayer of the king more beautiful. And here's what you want to mark. Here's what you want to highlight. Here's what you want to make sure you identify. I want to read through the prayer of the king. Pick up with me verse 5. It says, "Then Jehoshaphat stood up in the assembly of Judah and Jerusalem at the temple of the Lord in front of the new courtyard and said," listen to this prayer. He prayed this. He said, "Lord, the God of our ancestors, are you not the God who is in heaven? You rule over all the kingdoms of the nations. Power and might are in your hand, and no one can withstand you." Oh, declare who God is. Oh, come on, King, declare who God is. Listen, he says, "Our God, did you not drive out the inhabitants of this land before your people Israel and give it forever to the descendants of Abraham, your friend?" Let me hit the pause button here for a minute to say, why is it important for us to study the Old Testament? Because when you're praying, it's always great to show that you have a knowledge of who God is and what God has done. That's a great way to start a prayer. God, let me just declare who you are. Let me just declare what you have done. And he keeps on. He says, "They have lived in it and have built it into a sanctuary for your name, saying, if calamity comes upon us, whether the sword or judgment or plague or famine, we will stand in your presence before this temple that bears your name, and will cry out to you in our distress, and you will hear us and save us." And you can start to pray that before you even believe it. Do you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and start to pray it. There are some things that I was almost convinced of when I started praying that I was fully convinced of when I finished praying. Because as I talk to the God that I know, and I talk to the God who knows me, as I talk to him from my heart, something happens inside of me. I began to find courage in him that I did not have on my own. I began to discover peace in him that I did not have on my own as I began to declare who he is and what he has done. Why do we study the Bible? So we can know the promises of God, the character of God, the testimony of God's people, so that when we pray about that and we say, God, you are the God. There is none like you. You're the God who delivers, the God who saved. And you have said when we call upon you, you will save us.